Welcome, everyone. Let's talk about why presence is one of the most underrated gifts that you can give, even when you're burned out. Like, if you're a parent, if you're a leader, then I really am glad that you're here, because today we're going to be talking about something that might just change everything about how you connect with the people who are in your life. We're talking about your kids, your spouse, your partner, your employees, your clients, all those sorts of people. Now, this is no new app. It's no productivity hack in any way. It is your presence. So let me set the stage by asking you a few questions and see if this resonates with you. Like, have you ever been in a conversation where someone was physically there, but mentally it felt like they were a million miles away? Like, maybe they were, checking their phone or staring off behind you, or giving the kind of the half-hearted, like, those replies. Sometimes I get those from my 14-year-old, but I feel like that's just because he's 14. But think about it. Like, how did that make you feel when someone felt that disconnected? Now let's flip it and think about a time when someone gave you their full and undivided attention, like no phone, no distraction, just you and them, and you felt seen, you felt heard, like just you mattered to them in that moment, right? Like, that kind of connection, that's rare, and it's honestly one of the most powerful parts of having connections and building relationships with other people. What I've learned from my own life, from working with thousands of people in this area, is that your presence, just being fully there, is one of the most valuable gifts that you can give. And yet, when we're tired, overwhelmed, or stretched thin, it's usually one of the first things that we withhold. We tell ourselves, like, well, I'll be more present maybe when things calm down or later on. Like, I need more energy before I can really show up for others. Or, like, what do I even have to give right now because I feel so depleted? But let me tell you, that's a trap. That's a trap that we fall into. And the truth is that your presence, like, it doesn't have to wait. It doesn't have to be perfect in any way. It doesn't require any more time. It's just a different kind of attention. Whether you're juggling family responsibilities, or keeping a business afloat, or grinding through long hours of the day, real connection can still happen. And, not just happen, but they can thrive from there. So if just a few minutes of genuine and focused presence, like, think about it, like, what if those few minutes could shift a relationship or reignite your purpose and create maybe this massive ripple effect that reaches far beyond what you can see? Like, that's what we want to dive into today. Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and author of this book. It's called The Giver Method. It is an Amazon bestseller. Has amazing 5-star reviews. Tons of people are changing their lives because of it. It helps people to transform their lives, to discover their gifts and superpowers, create more value for others, to be more present around those people and how they engage with them, and to really start to live a more fulfilled life. Now, I'm going to put a link in the description so you can go get access to this on Amazon. Now, at the same time, if you're not ready to invest the $10 in the book, which I think you should, it's one of the best $10 you can invest in yourself. If you're not there yet, then I'm going to include a free resource called The Giver's Roadmap that gives you that ability to start the process and start making those changes today. But gives you that lower barrier of getting started. It's got the free resource that you can go get access to. Now, today, what I want to do is I want to walk through these 7 steps and principles that help you, like, how you give through your presence. Okay? Like, they're not complicated in any way. You won't need more hours of your day. I don't want to add more to your plate or stress you out if you're a parent, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're someone working crazy hours at a job. Like, I know how strapped you can feel sometimes, or overwhelmed. What I want to do is I want to look at, small and intentional shifts, and ways that we transform time that you already have into these moments that actually matter. So stick around with me, because by the end of this video, you're not only going to see why your presence is more powerful than you actually think, but you'll know exactly how to use it even when you feel like you've got nothing left to give in the day. Sound good? I mean, if that speaks to you, if that stands out to you, then please hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. I don't want you to miss out on any of the conversation we have about helping people to discover their gifts and superpowers, create more impact, and live a more fulfilled life. At the same time, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook under The Giver Method, or at thegivermethod.com. I'll put all these links down in the description along with the book and the free resource, so that way you can pay attention to everything, watch the video, and at the end, I'll give you a reminder to go back and check those things out. Okay? So let's dive in. Let's get started with it, with that first kind of step and principle. The first, it's really a principle, and it's a mindset. Like, what we need to focus on is the presence mindset. We're going to kick it off because, this is something that's going to completely shift how you show up in your relationships, in your work, and honestly, just life. And, it's that presence mindset is what I call it. And it starts with the simple idea that being present isn't about what you do, but just how you show up. Because I mean, gosh, let's be real. Being present emotionally, being present and emotionally available and actually paying attention. How often do we do that? I mean, it becomes so rare these days because we live in this world where, people are checking their phones 100 times a day. They're multitasking through conversations and, barely even scratching the surface with most interactions. So when you offer someone your full attention and you're actually present, it becomes one of the most valuable gifts that you can give them. I mean, it's more valuable than advice. It's more valuable than solutions, and, way more valuable than anything material that you could give them. Now, here's the thing, though, that you need to consider is that most people think presence is just passive. Like, it just happens when you're in the room, but it's not. It's an active thing. It is intentional. You have to be intentional about it. Like, when you choose to show up fully, like with your heart and your mind, that they're aligned, that your choices, they become this form of giving because you're there for them. Now, I know sometimes we avoid being present because we feel like we don't have the energy, or we feel drained or overwhelmed or stretched thin. I've been there. I've been in all of those scenarios as a parent, as a husband, as an entrepreneur, as an employee at a large organization, like all of those things. I've been there. But here's something that may surprise you. When you're present with the right people in the right moments, it will not drain you. It actually fuels you. It fills your emotional tank, rather than emptying it. And that's something that then continues on with you as you go throughout the day, as you go to the other things that maybe aren't as emotionally filling for you, but you kind of filled the tank for yourself, and it helps press through to make you have a better day throughout the rest of the day. So how do we start living with this presence mindset? Well, it starts with, that small shifts. Like, instead of asking yourself, like, do I have time for that conversation? Try asking, like, can I give this person my full attention for maybe 5 minutes? Instead of thinking like, oh, gosh, I need to fix this, like, can I just be here and let them feel heard? And if I feel prompted after that to do something, I will. But maybe you don't have to. Like, the simple way to practice throughout the day is like that you set 3 random alarms on your phone that's like, where's my attention right now? Just set random ones. Maybe it's on a watch, a phone, a computer, whatever. Maybe you do old school alarm clock. Like, when it goes off, just check, like, are you really here? Is your mind somewhere else? Are you present in that moment? And starting to have that awareness is going to start helping you to retain how you show up throughout the day. Another thing is what I call is like, you do like a presence reset. It doesn't take a lot of time. It takes maybe 20, 30 seconds. But, before you walk into your next meeting or a conversation or a family interaction, just pause and take like 3 deep breaths. Mentally put down whatever came before and set the intention, like, I'm fully here now. I'm here, and here's what I want from this. Here's what you have to set the intention of, what do I want from this? What is my desired future? And it resets, like, it's this sort of a reset that's going to help you arrive, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. Like, the big takeaway is when you truly give the attention as a gift, like, even on days where you feel like you've got nothing left, you realize you still have something incredible to offer. It just flips the script from like, I've got nothing to give, to my presence is a gift, and it really does change everything for you. Now, our second one is, what I want to talk about is one of the biggest lies that most of us, have brought into our lives. Like, it comes up when we're trying to, build deeper relationships. It's the idea that in order to create a real connection, we need these hours of uninterrupted time, like long dinners, long weekend retreats, big conversations. Like, don't get me wrong. Those things are great. I love them. I love all of those with the people that I want to have deep, ongoing relationships with. But that's not the only way. Like, for most of us, it may not even be realistic. Like, what if I told you that you could make that happen? Some of the most successful people and at creating deeper relationships are when they take the moments in your day, and it's possibly just 30 seconds that they're putting into it. And so this is, I refer to it as this micro moment technique, and you just focus on it from that so that it's not a overwhelming piece of that. It's all about shifting focus from how long I need to spend with someone to how present I am during the time that we already have. Because the truth is, 30 seconds of full attention is often more than 30 minutes of half distracted time. And this isn't like a feel-good idea in any way. It's actual science behind that. When you give someone your full attention, just undivided attention, even for a brief moment, their nervous system will register that as safety. And the brain syncs up with yours. Weird. This is true in science, that you can create these tiny windows of being in tune with each other, that sense of connection can stick with them long after the moment has passed. That's why, certain short exchanges like a a glance, a question, a genuine smile, they can be so powerful in what they do. Now, I know a lot of people feel overwhelmed by, advice of like, well, just spend more quality time with them. You just need to spend more time with your kids, your partner, your team. Like, I get that. And that can feel like one more demand an already packed day. But these micro moments, like, you can build those right into your existing routine. Start by just thinking of like, let's think about 3 to 5 regular moments in your day that already happens. You're waking your kids up and getting ready for school in the morning. You're grabbing coffee with a coworker. You're saying goodnight to your spouse. Like, there's all sorts of things that could happen. These are those presence points in your life when, you need, like, gosh, you don't need to have more time. You just need to show up differently and commit to giving the full attention for 30 to 60 seconds. That's it. Put down your phone, turn your body towards them, make eye contact, listen intently, like ask the simple question like, well, what's on your mind today? Like, hey, what's been the best part of your day so far? And then just stop and listen. Because those 30 seconds is it. Like, that is super important. You also can then take that and use these like presence, like bookends, where they're those intentional check-in points at the start or end of the day with the people who matter. Like, if you're a parent, like that might be that full attention when your kids are waking up and right before you go to bed. Like, if you're leading a team, a quick focused conversation on your key players, to start or close a work day. Like, the technique matters so much because the connections are doable no matter how busy your life is. When you realize those deep connections like isn't about more time but just showing up fully, like everything changes and you stop waiting for these perfect moments to connect and you start creating the meaningful, like middle ordinary day type thing that actually ends up being some of the biggest impact that you can do. And your presence, even in small doses, it has such an amazing impact. Now, the third thing that you want to start to do is going to be, I often talk about, like, people will talk about, like, active listening. And what I want you to try to adopt is more of an authentic listening framework. Now, most of us think that we're good listeners, but really listening? Like, are we doing that? The kind that makes someone feel, like, truly seen and safe? Like, where trust is built? Like, that's a whole different level. At the heart of real presence is listening. And not just hearing the words, but receiving someone in the way that makes them actually feel like they matter to you. Now, these kinds of listenings, they are rare. When someone experiences it, like even for the first time in a long time, it builds like this instant trust and connection and respect. Like, it's one of the most generous things that you could give to another person. So this authentic listening framework, like, it is not passive. Once again, it's active, it's intentional, it takes practice, but the impact is so huge. So let's break it down a little bit. Most people listen at like what I would call like a level 1, we'll just say, where you're catching facts, you're nodding along, and maybe you're thinking about what you're going to say next. Like, we've all done it. It's not bad. That's how most of us move throughout our day. Like, it just doesn't go very deep. And then there's this like level, like we'll call it the level 2, the next level, where, you start by, tuning into the emotions behind the words. You start hearing someone and how they feel. You listen to not just what they're saying. Like, this is where, listening to people help people feel emotionally validated. It says like, I see you. This is where like empathy and, that initial layer of active listening comes in. But my challenge to you would be, how do we kick that up one more level? How do we go to level 3? Because that's where the real magic happens. This is where you listen not just to the words, but even the space between the words. What's the unspoken stuff there? What are the fears or the hopes? The I'm not saying this out loud, but I wish I could, like, kind of stuff that's in there. We know that it's there. We have it. We hold these things back. I guarantee the other person is as well. And when you tune into that level, you're not just hearing someone, but you're helping them understand themselves. Like, you're helping them understand themselves better just by the way that you're showing up. And the good news is that, like, it isn't this kind of listening, like, isn't a rare gift that only a few people have. Like, it's just a skill that you can build if you practice it. Like, any person can do this one and have these massive impacts in their life. So what you want to do to get started with this is this, like, think about this as like a listening framework or like a listening method. Think of it in like 2-2-2 method, right? So first, you're going to listen without interruption for 2 full minutes. Trust me, that is way harder than it actually sounds. Then what you want to do is ask 2 like follow-up questions, that help the other person go deeper. So not just surface level stuff, like ask them like what was that like for you? Or what did you need most in that moment? What do you need most right now based off that? And then reflect back on the 2 things you just heard. not just repeat the words by naming what really matters. Like, well, it sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed and kind of unsure what to do next. Like, did I get that right? And this sort of a structure where you're rephrasing it this way trains you to stay present, to receive before responding. And it's an absolute game changer. Something I learned as I was helping people with grief recovery and where emotions are extremely high and working through those types of things. So it just trains you in that sort of way to keep present in the moment. Now, let's talk about body language. Like, because your presence isn't just how you listen, like your body and mind, like they need to be aligned in their listening. So you need to physically be showing you're paying attention, not just mentally checking the box. Like, face the person, make eye contact, put your phone away. Like, no, don't put your face down, like, or out of sight. Don't not, like, lean into them. Pay attention to what they're saying. Like, this shift sends this big message that, like, I'm here and I am listening and you matter to me. Another one is just like curiosity-driven listening. So instead of jumping to respond or give advice, like, just pause and ask yourself, like, do I really understand what they're saying? Or am I just filling in the blanks with my own assumptions? And then that's where going back to some of these clarifying questions of like, well, will you tell me more about that? Or like, what was the hardest part? How did that make you feel? Like, open these questions up so that the doors open to conversations that would have stayed closed if you just rushed past those moments. Like, in a world of opinions and advice and noise and coming from all sorts of places, this authentic listening is so rare and it is healing for people. Like, learn to listen, not just with your ears, but with your whole heart. It's one of the greatest gifts that you can give to other people and show that you are present there for them. Now, for this fourth principle, where there's this mindful entry, like, practice. Like, let me just ask you something. Like, have you ever, I don't know, snapped at a family member after you've been stressed in the day? I'm guilty of this. Like, or sat down for a meeting still stewing from what happened, like, on the way to work or at home that morning. Like, yeah, I've been there. Me too. Like, that happens when we move from one role in our lives to another. Like, I'm a parent, I am a spouse, I am an entrepreneur, I'm a business leader, I coach people. Like, I'm a team member, like, I'm a friend. Like, you transition from these roles within your day and without giving ourselves even maybe a second to reset. And that's exactly why this next principle is so important. Like, this mindful entry, like, practice, like I said, I've probably come up with a better term for it later, but and it's all about the in-between moments, the ones where usually we're rushing without thinking. And, like, we give these little transitions, like, gosh, we're not careful with them. And we end up dragging old energy into new spaces. I mean, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you've been there when you're physically at dinner, but you're mentally still stuck in your inbox, or you're in a team meeting and, but your head is still spinning from the conversation you had at home. Like, you're there, but not really. And so this practice is going to help you avoid that. It gives your mind and body the cue to say, okay, I'm shifting now. I'm moving into this position, this role, this place in my day. And when done intentionally, you're just going to show up more fully for whoever it is that's there, instead of carrying any sort of emotional baggage or leftover from the last thing you did. So here's what actually happened behind the scenes. Your brain, it needs signals to switch gears. Like, without them, your nervous system just stays stuck in the last situation that you were in. And that's why, a rough call in the car could ruin your mood after a long day when you walk in your house. Like, your brain's still back there in the car on the edge, unresolved. So here's how you make this shift. Like, start by identifying, like, okay, there are these few key transition moments in your day, places where you want to show up fully, and when you do, that can make this massive difference, to you and to the individuals that you're interacting with. So maybe it's, walking through the door after work, could be when you're hopping onto a Zoom call, it could be shifting from boss mode to partner mode, or getting kids ready for bed. Like this is where that practice needs to come in. Like, you want to create these small, consistent, maybe rituals that help you transition at those points. Like, I'm not talking about anything dramatic or time consuming. Like, it could be super simple. It's like, once again, like, let's just take a few deep breaths before I walk inside. Let me pause with my, hand on the doorknob and just mentally say, like, okay, I'm done with this part of my day. And as I walk in here, I'm walking in as his dad and I need to show up as dad. It could be sitting in your car for just 30 seconds and going into the house and saying, like, hey, how do I want to show up next? That intentionality, like my desired future versus the default future I could have by walking in with this energy, how do I change that? Like, you're not erasing what happened, but you're choosing to not let it stay where you are right now. It needs to stay where it belongs. and so that you can be more present in that moment. So for maybe tougher transitions, I suggest like maybe maybe you have cues that shift your state. These could be little physical resets, to your signal your nervous system that like, hey, we're switching modes. Like sometimes that's splashing cold water in your face. It could be, changing shoes or jackets or clothes or whatever. It could be stretching. It could be stepping outside and walking. In some cases, like if I'm having stress at work, like it's listening to certain types of music. It's different things like that. Like no matter how small it may be, like don't think of them as small. Like they're extremely powerful in how they impact you. Your body gets the message like, oh, we're shifting. We're here now. And like, here's the truth. Without this kind of practice, your presence gets fragmented a little bit, and a little bit here and a little bit there, things are happening, but you're never fully anywhere. And that's exhausting to you. Part of the reason why people feel burnt out and stressed so much. So this practice is going to help you to reset throughout the day, and it reminds you that you choose how you want to show up next. Like it's not going to control you. Like you need to control how you show up and protect your energy and your focus so that your relationships can be stronger when you arrive in that space. Now, the next one is what I call the one conversation rule. Okay, if you've ever felt like being more present, like I want to be more present, you've thought this all day long, and it sounds like this great theory, but impossible in real life, then this is going to be for you. I want to introduce you to something so simple that it could hopefully change the way that you connect with people who matter most to you, and it's that one conversation rule. Here's how it's going to work, okay? Instead of trying to be fully present in every conversation throughout your day, that takes time, practice to build up to that. Like when you're already juggling meetings and errands and emails and responsibilities, like I just want you to commit to one, not everything. I'm going to do one conversation, one interaction, one moment where I'm going to show up fully. That's it. Like no phone, no distractions, no mental like to-do list running in the background, just 10 minutes of you completely available to that person. Now, you might be thinking like, well, can one conversation really make that big of a difference? Like, yes, 100%. Like, and this is why most people have never actually felt the difference between partial attention and full, like that full presence. But the moment you experience it, like either giving it or receiving it, like you realize how rare it is and how much it matters to you, even when you're the person just giving it. Like this isn't about like having like a being perfect all day long. Like I said, you can't, like it will take time before you feel like you can do that in as many interactions throughout the day. You may never even get perfect at it where you can do it even with practice. Like it has nothing to do with that. It's about building the habit and the rhythm of that presence, because the truth is that consistency beats intensity every single time. One meaningful connection a day is more impactful than hours of distracted time. And so how do you do that? Like, okay, first, like think of like, you just need to start by looking at it, methodically and saying, well, I've got my schedule and I'm going to actually schedule the conversation like an appointment and make it a non-negotiable. It could be morning chat with your spouse. It could be a quick focus check-in with a child before they go to bed. It could be a one-on-one with a teammate or friend. It could, maybe it's a quiet, reflective conversation with yourself. Who knows? Like the person can change, the setting can change, but the rule stays the same. Today, I'm picking one conversation where I'm going to be fully present. And then you create this like presence, like container, like meaning you set the stage, you put your phone in the other room, you choose the space that's free of noise and interruptions. You sit in ways that it's like saying, I'm here and I'm listening. Like these are the little shifts you make. And while you're in that conversation, go deeper than the surface and use those layered levels of listening that we were talking about. You really dive deeper into it and identify like, what's been on their mind lately. Like what's felt more meaningful to them. Like start diving into that and pause. Don't ever rush the silence. Like silence is great. It's a part of the conversation. And if your mind starts to wander because that's okay. It happens. Just gently notice and like bring yourself back, returning to, to the practice. Like that is going to have so much value. That's how your presence muscles get stronger and you work those out over time. Like these conversations become the anchors, the tiny little islands of trust and connection in the middle of any busy or chaotic days. And often they're the moments that people are going to remember the most. Now, the next one is like, gosh, you have to reclaim the bored moments in life. Let me paint this picture. Like you're waiting in line at the grocery store. You're sitting at a red light. You're, early for a meeting or standing on the elevator, and you're not even, probably not even thinking. Like you just reach for your phone. You just grab your phone, you look at it, or you just start playing with the things in your cup holder. Like, you just do something, like something so simple because you're just not thinking about it. Like, have you been there? Does that sound familiar? Because it's like we've got this automatic reflex that we all go to. I'll use the phone as the example. Like, we get into a room and like you pause for the day, even if it's for 10 seconds, and boom, like, how do we fill it? Like, I gotta scroll, I gotta check things, I gotta refresh, I gotta avoid stillness. But here's the thing, is that those tiny in-between moments, they matter more than we give them credit for. So you want to reclaim these bored moments. It's all about transforming those little throwaway spaces in your day into quiet, more powerful opportunities to practice presence. Because the truth is that how you show up in those small, quiet moments, like, it does shape how you show up in the big ones. Even if you're just like training your brain, like, you just have to keep working on it in ways that you are not having to look for that constant stimulation, because then you're always going to be distracted. As I wrote the book, The Giver Method, I did tons of research into how a lot of this stuff impacts the way people think. And like, neuroscientists have used this term. It's this continuous partial attention is what they call it. And it means that your brain is stuck in this low-level split focus mode. Always kind of here, but not there, never fully there anywhere. Like, every time we check our phone during these micro-waiting events, like, we're reinforcing that state. But there's some really good news, is that you can retrain your brain to not do it. You can reclaim those moments. So the first thing is, like, for the first, I don't know, let's say next couple of days, like, don't change anything. Just notice what you're doing. Pay attention to how often your hand reaches for that phone. It reaches for the distraction. Like, it could be at the grocery store, it could be at the red light, it could be, while you're waiting for the microwave to finish. Like, just notice the reflex. No judgment, no shame, just be aware of it. That awareness can be a huge game changer, because then that gives you the ability to choose a category of bored moment to reclaim. Like, all right, well, let me just pick one thing. Maybe it's stoplights. Maybe it's waiting rooms. Maybe it's the first 60 seconds of a meeting before a meeting starts. Like just instead of defaulting to your phone, like, try that presence alternative. Take your 3 slow breaths that we talk a lot about. Notice maybe 5 details around those, some colors. Look for the sounds. How does your body feel? Maybe make eye contact or smile at somebody nearby, or just sit, like, with yourself and your thoughts. Like, no input, no escape, just be in a moment of presence. Like, and here's the key. It's not about what you do. It's about, like, just not disconnecting from what's happening right in your space. Like, it's about choosing to be here, even in those really ordinary moments. And over time, you can start to expand those areas by reclaiming more parts of your day. One small pause at a time. Take back red lights. Take back the time before the meetings. Take back the time that you're in an elevator or you're waiting for something. Those choices might not seem like much, but they add up and they compound over time. Like, just because, there's thousands of distractions around us, and are trying to take our attention. And so as you make these small choices and you approach it like, all right, well, I'm going to, every time these thousands of distractions, I'm going to have thousands of times I need to reassess. Like, you're going to start rewiring yourself for your attention and how you show up. Like, it's just a strong reminder that presence isn't just about the big ones. It's about these little things where you make those micro decisions in those moments. And then, of course, the last principle is that your presence, like, it is already enough. Like, let's just, like, take that breath together right now, because this one, like, this is the principle. This is the one that many of us need to hear. Like, you don't have to say the perfect thing. You don't have to have perfect timing or fix anything at all to make a difference in people's lives. Your presence just being there is already enough. This idea of, like, this inherent worth recognition that we have by just being there and understanding that your attention, your emotional availability, your willingness to show up, like, that's a gift. Not advice, not the solutions, not how smooth or insightful you sound, just being there for somebody. That's exactly, who you are and showing up authentically. Like, that's what it is. Like, but let's be honest, that doesn't always feel true. Most of us, like, have been taught, like, either, like, directly or indirectly, that our worth is tied to what we're doing, and we're told that we need to be answering things right away. But, like, that causes us to start to hesitate when we're showing up, or to be thinking, not paying attention because we're thinking ahead. Like, these moments when someone you care about is hurting and you freeze because you don't know what to say, like, or you have a tough conversation, your brain scrambles for the right words in the silence, like, because you're fearing this failure. Like, what I've learned is, in those moments, people don't need that perfection. They just need you to be there. Like, they need to feel heard and seen, and that they're not alone. Like, that's it. And so what you do is just think about all of these principles we've talked about in, I'm not going to respond right away. I'm going to let them go. I'm going to pause. I'm going to let there be enough for them and, to get things out. I'm going to make sure I've thought through those, how are they feeling? What are the words they're not saying? Like, just do that. Just show up in that sort of way. And that's what's going to be the thing that matters the most. Like, the next time, if you're wondering if you're doing enough, just remember, you are, just by being there and listening to them in that sort of a way. All right, now shake that all off, because gosh, I want to help clear our heads, because we just covered a lot today, okay? And if there's one thing that I hope sticks with you, it's this. It's not about how much time you spend with any one person. It's about just how you show up in the time that you have with them. That full attention, even a few minutes, is one of the rarest and most generous gifts that you can offer. And the world, where most people are half distracted or half engaged or barely present, that's one of the best things you could give to them. And the beautiful part is that, the things we talked about today, they don't require you to add more hours to your day. They just ask you to bring a different kind of energy to the moments that you already have. So my invitation is to just pick one of these principles, and just pick one and try it this week. Maybe it's choosing a conversation to be fully present. Maybe it's reclaiming those tiny moments in between. Maybe it's reminding yourself that your presence is enough, and how you show up, you don't have to worry about saying the right words. Whatever it is, just commit to practice it and noticing what happens when you do. Notice how the people around you respond when they feel seen and heard. Even if it's a brief moment, notice how the tone of a relationship starts to shift. And maybe most importantly, notice how you feel when you're actually here, rather than scattered amongst thousands of distractions. How much more energy you have. Now, if you want to keep that momentum going, I've got some steps for you, some things you could do. Once again, you could keep that momentum going by grabbing my book on Amazon that I'll have a link for down in the description. It dives deeper into stories and tools and reflection prompts tailored for parents and entrepreneurs and working professionals who, are ready to give in a way that feels sustainable and real and deeply human. Or if you want, you could just start with the free resource. The Giver's Roadmap is in the description below as well, and it's a great way to begin. I'd love to hear from any of you. Please drop a comment and let me know which of these principles hit home for you today, or maybe what's the one small shift that you're willing to make this week in how you show up. I read every comment. Seriously, I do. And so please comment so I can see what your thoughts are. Lastly, thank you just for, clicking play on this, actually being here. Your presence matters, and I don't take that lightly. So until next time, just remember that your attention is one of the most powerful gifts you can give. And when you offer it, even in the smallest imperfect ways, in ordinary day-to-day ways, you create that ripple of connection that goes beyond what you can see. So thank you so much for showing up and being present today. We will catch you in our next video. Have a great rest of your day.